リーレン。魔族が言葉で人を欺くように、お前は魔力で魔族を欺くんだ。
アウラ、お前の前にいるのは1000年以上生きた魔法使いだ。
Want to be an insanely powerful blaster? A type of build that obliterates everything it sets its eye on, a destructive force of nature bringing deadly lightning and thunder to its enemies. I've really enjoyed making that insanely powerful Thunder God build for you guys, where I maximized the reverberation charges and thunder damage to its absolute limit. If you haven't checked out the Thunder God build or other builds in my creation, you can check out all of the links in the end of the video. After I finished making that build, I was actually inspired to make a spellcaster version where I can just spam one single spell and stack so much damage. Even the game's combat logs can't keep track on how much this monster can dish out that damage in just a matter of seconds. This is a type of build that triggers reverberation stacks by just simply existing in the battlefield. Reverberation is a really nasty debuff that stacks every time you deal thunder damage. Once your stack reaches 5 or more, they will explode in deadly thunder damage, plus they have a chance to fall prone for 2 turns. I just love proning enemies as they can't do any action other than lying there and waiting to get hit. I wasn't kidding when I said that by just simply existing, your enemies will take reverberation even by just the sheer action of running around. They're gonna be taking damage and stack reverberation every time. Reverberation stacking and continuous damage over time is one of the reasons that why this build is insanely broken.
Holy look at all this damage!
Not only that, with just a single cantrip, the damage we deal with this build just goes through the roof. We can deal not only force damage, we're gonna add thunder, lightning, and radiation on top of each other. This build is also not your average spellcaster because you can actually wear heavy or medium armors in order to increase the viability for you to just run into hordes of enemies without a care in the world. Just simply prep the battlefield and turn it into an electrifying zone where you can take control and destroy everything that enters in your domain. In order to do this, we're gonna be using the brand new Ranger subclass that is introduced to patch 8, which is the Swarmkeeper. This very useful subclass will be our base, which will make this build as powerful as it is, with the help of Cloud of Jellyfish Swarm. These sea creatures can deal additional lightning damage, which can trigger our thunder explosion with the help of the Gloves of the Belligerent Sky. When we deal thunder, lightning, and radiant damage, we can also apply 2 stacks of reverberation to our targets. Just like the Thunder God, this build will deal all of the 3 elements, so we are able to trigger the effects every time we use an attack. This subclass gives us access to the Ranger Knight that provides proficiency for heavy armor, opening up our options to wear either medium or heavy armor depending on our preferences. This type of spellcaster removes all those worries of getting continuously hit because of its very low AC. Not only that, we will have access to a free teleportation spell where it doesn't trigger opportunity attacks once you use it. This is a really nice repositioning tool to adjust your distances to maximize your spell casting abilities. To further take advantage of the Gloves of Belligerent Skies, we'll be introducing the Beastly class of the Sorcerer, particularly the Storm Sorcerer subclass. This subclass is perfect for any Thunder, Lightning caster build, where we have access to the Heart of the Storm, Lightning, and Thunder. Your Lightning and Thunder element-based attacks can trigger small local storms that deals additional damage to that element type. Plus, you also get the Tempestuous Magic, where it can let you fly without triggering opportunity attacks. Those are just some of the perks But the main reason that we're using this class is because of the meta magic abilities, where we can use our bonus action to cast another spell. Pair this up with the haste from the sorcerer, and this will add additional actions and a +2 to our AC. We can literally melt bosses in just a matter of seconds. To push this build in the broken tier, we'll be introducing one of my favorite subclasses, which is the Great Old One Warlock. This Warlock will provide our bread and butter spell that we'll be using majority of the time, which is the Eldritch Blast. Together with its amazing class feature, which is Mortal Reminder, whenever we land a critical hit, the enemies need to succeed a saving throw or get frightened for that turn. The Eldritch Blast will let you fire off 3 laser blasts dealing force damage. We'll be buffing this ability to its peak potential by adding more lightning, thunder, and radiant damage along with its regular force damage blast. We'll just need to introduce items like the Callous Glow Ring that will give us +2 radiant damage. As for the lightning damage, we'll be using the water sparkers. This will also let us electrocute wet surfaces. Once your enemies run around your electrocuted water, they'll take lightning damage and trigger additional radiant damage because of our Callous Glow Ring. Once that lightning and radiation damage procs, we will also stack reverberation charges because of the gloves. In order for us to not get electrocuted and be hit by our own spell, we'll be introducing the Sparks Wall Amulet. This will let us run around in electrocuted surfaces while stacking more lightning charges. If you're wondering where is the thunder damage coming from, the source will be from the majestic Failure Alluve, particularly its ability to use the Failure Alluve Shriek. We're gonna turn our spellcaster into a sword-wielding, force-blasting god. So long as your enemies stay inside the Shriek's AoE, they'll take additional thunder damage from any damage tick. This means that every force, lightning, and radiant damage will also be accompanied by that sweet thunder damage, which will also further stack that reverberation charges. Not to mention getting electrocuted by that lightning water that they're standing on. With all those elemental damage sources combined, you can just simply imagine on how much damage we can deal in just a single Eldritch Blast. Your enemies doesn't even have a chance. They'll either get electrocuted, proned, pushed back, or just die. Whatever the options are, they're still gonna get obliterated nonetheless. To add more value to this amazing build, we'll be increasing the potency of your Shocking Grasp that is already by itself dealing lightning damage. To further augment this cantrip, we'll be introducing the Necklace of Elemental Augmentation. When we deal acid, cold, fire, lightning, or thunder damage on our cantrips, we are able to add our spellcasting modifier to the damage dealt. On top of the already bonkers thunder radiant damage, the cantrip can also stack reverberation stacks for added AoE damage to anything in its vicinity. The amount of ridiculous damage sources this build can dish out is just unfair. Now let's build the gear that completes this monster. We're gonna need the Helldusk Helmet for the free Devil Sight, plus the enemy can't land a crit on us. Cloak of Protection to increase our AC and a saving throw by 1. Armor of Agility for that full dexterity scaling for our AC. You can also use the Adamantine Armors if you really want to get that Reeling debuff, or any armor that provides full dexterity scaling that will still work. As mentioned earlier, the Gloves of Belligerent Sky for the Thunderous conversion. Boots will be the Sparks Water for electrifying water surfaces and lightning charges stacking. Necklace of Amulet Augmentation for the Elemental Augmentation buff. Callous Glow Ring for that additional radiant damage. And the Sparks Wall for electrocution immunity. Main hand weapon will be the Failure Alluve for that Shriek, and the shield for the added AC. I just went with the highest AC shield that I can find, which is the Viconia shield for this example. With all those items present, your build will most likely look like this. The most potent lightning zone blaster to bring destruction upon everything you deem as an enemy. Now, let's see how we actually create this insane monster. We're gonna start off with the races. For the races of the build, you can get any race that you prefer for as long as you are happy with that race. But if you want to min-max everything, there are 2 races that I would recommend, starting with the Elf and the Githyanki. For the Githyanki is that we get a really nice features such as the Martial Prodigy, proficiencies in light armor and medium armor, as well as proficiencies with short sword, long sword, and great sword. For the Elf, it's basically the same. We have the race feature Elven Weapon Training that'll give us long sword, short bow, and long bow proficiencies, as well as dark vision and fey ancestry that will prevent us from being charmed or sleep. For this build example, we'll just go with the elf, particularly the wood half elf. We will get the subrace feature Fleet of Foot that'll increase our move speed by 1.5 meters. For the classes, we'll start with the warlock and use the eldritch blast as early as possible. For the subrace is the great old one. We will have the subrace feature Mortal Reminder. Whenever we land a critical hit, enemies will need to succeed the wisdom saving throw or get frightened until next turn. For the cantrips, obviously it's the Eldritch Blast. For the abilities, most likely it will look like this. We'll be prioritizing Charisma, Dexterity, and Constitution. Charisma will be our primary stat that will be scaling our spell modifiers. Dexterity will be our AC and initiative. Constitution will be our HP as well as our physical endurance. Now into progression, level 2 of our Warlock. We'll just get a few Eldritch Invocation that is really good for the build. For the Eldritch Invocation, we'll get Agonizing Blast. When we use our Eldritch Blast, we can add our Charisma modifier to the damage that we deal, as well as the Repelling Blast that can push enemies by 4.5 meters when we use our Eldritch Blast. For the spells, get whatever spells that you like. I'll just go with Hex for this level. Level 3 of the build, we will now move into our second multi-class, which will be the Ranger. So the Ranger will be the one that will give us those really nice Swarmkeeper abilities later on our levels. But for now, we'll be selecting our Natural Explorer. Just select from any wasteland wanderer that you want to prioritize. I'll just go with because it is one of the most common ones. Favored enemies will be the Ranger Knight. This will give us proficiencies in history as well as armor proficiencies in heavy armor. Level 2 of our Ranger and level 4 of our character will just stay with this level and get our fighting style. We will just be focusing on defense to increase our AC by 1. For the spells, get any transmutation spells that you can grab, such as a Long Strider and the Enhanced Leap. Level 5 of our character, which is level of the Ranger, we will now specialize in our Swarmkeeper subclass that will give us the really nice Gathered Swarm ability. Cloud of Jellyfish, this really handy swarm will give us that additional lightning damage that will also proc the reverberating stacks as well as the radiant damage that we'll be doing later on for the build. We can also shock our enemies and teleport to a safer location without triggering opportunity attacks. For the spells, grab any spells that you like. I'll just go with the Hunter's Mark. Level 4 of the Ranger, level 6 of our character will now have access to our very first feat, and we'll just take ability improvement for this level. We'll just max it to 19. And we will just get the hair from Anti-Ethel. This will go up to 20. Level 7 of our character, we will now jump into our final multi-class of the build with the Sorcerer class. We'll just take the subclass Storm Sorcerer. This will also give us the subclass feature Tempestuous Magic. Whenever we cast any level 1 spell or higher, we can use Fly as our bonus action. For the spells, get Shield. Obviously, this will increase our AC by 5. Level 8 of our character, Sorcerer level 2. We will now have access to a couple of sorcery points, as well as the meta magic will be the extended and the twinned magic. For the spells, just continue and get whatever spells that you like. I'll just get Magic Missile for this level. Sorcerer level 3, we now gain our meta magic, and obviously we'll get the Quicken spell. This will let us use our bonus action instead of our main action when we use our spells. For the spells, we can get Mirror Image. This will increase our AC by 3 each mirror image that we conjure. Level 10 of our character, level 4 of our sorcerer, a couple of sorcery points, and another feat for the build. We will get the dexterity for this one and put it to 18. For the spells, just get any spells that is remaining, maybe Misty Step. Level 11 of our character and level 5 of our sorcerer, we will now have access again to another sorcery points and a couple of spells, which is Haste. This is really important for the build. This will provide an additional action and we gain +2 AC for 10 turns. Finally, level 12, which is level 6 of our sorcerer, and we will now have access to the final subclass feature, which is Heart of the Storm. Whenever we use a level 1 or higher lightning or thunder damage attack, all enemies within a 6 meter take 3 lightning damage or 3 thunder damage. For the final spell, just get whatever you like. I'll just get Misty Step for the sake of it. Here we are now, guys, in our live combat simulation in order for me to show you guys how powerful this build can be. As usual, we're going to start off with the setup. For the setup of the build, we're going to be using the elixir of the Battle Mage's power. Whenever we drink this elixir, we will gain 3 arcane acuity. This will give us +1 to our spell attack rolls for each remaining turn. We're going to start off with this one. After that is we're going to prep the battlefield using the Create Water spell. If you guys have the wand, you can just use that. I'll just use this for just convenience and use it to the max level to increase its AoE to the maximum. I'll just drop the water, for example, here. Right after that, this will follow up with haste. This will increase our AC by 2 and grant us an additional action to use later on for this build once we start the battle. So we have haste for 10 turns. Follow up with the melody of the Failure Alluve Shriek. Now we're gonna start off the battle using this build. We can just open up with Eldritch Blast and start blasting away our foes. I just want to remind you guys, always keep your enemies inside the Failure Alluve AoE so that they can get all of the damage that we're gonna deal to them. With that being said, we'll just start off with the battle and attack this boss and try to take her down as quickly as possible. Now we just proc the Cloud of Jellyfish, so ability of the Ranger, so we can select from attack that will attack them by 1 to 6 damage. Shock them with using the Cloud of Jellyfish, or maybe use the teleport spell for free. I'll just use the attack so that we can proc the explosion stacks as well as the lightning, thunder, and radiant damage in just a single turn like this. So we just prone our enemies right there, and she just got up for some reason, moving around, getting electrocuted, and getting that thunder damage as well as that radiant damage from our really nice weapons and rings. So we are not moving, our enemies are just moving by themselves, and they get damaged by force as well as a couple of thunder damage and radiant damage. So you see that we just got lightning damage. Just get more explosions to all enemies that want to get close to us. So it is our turn. We will now try to attack the boss and eliminate her as quickly as possible. So we'll try to move forward a little bit, move into the Failure Alluve Shriek like that. After that, this will be using our Eldritch Blast to take her down as quickly as possible. So see that damage. See that damage right there very quickly. After that is we can use our Quicken spell just for the sake of it and take her down in this turn. Now she's dead. Look at how much damage that is. Insane. So now we can end our turn without any worries. Now the enemy just got exploded, got 2 reverberation stacks, and electrocuted for that turn. She'll be taking 4 thunder damage, and that will also take another stack of thunder explosion as well as radiant damage on top of that debuff. Just took damage once again because she is electrocuted. And after that, this will be increasing our AC for this turn if we want. So for this example, I'll just use it. This will increase our AC to 32, which is ridiculously high for this level. After that, it is our turn. So I'll just be using another set of Eldritch Blast to the farthest opponent right there, just for the sake of it, checking if she is in the area of my Failure Alluve. So I'll just get her in there. That. Set her up for another Eldritch Blast. Hit her. Now, we just hit her. For this example, I'll just be using the Cloud of Jellyfish so that we can use the teleport. And if you notice, we will not be triggering any opportunity attacks once we reposition ourselves. So I'll just reposition myself here so that all of my opponents around me get that Failure Alluve Shriek debuff. After that is we can finish off this opponent lying there. And like so, she's dead. We're gonna actually use our meta magic if we want, but for this turn, I'll just end it. We just got explosion there. This build is insanely potent in dealing damage over time. It is as insane as one of my builds, which is the Toxic Berserker. If you guys haven't seen it already, it is one of the most powerful barbarian builds that you'll need for Baldur's Gate 3. For this turn is we can use another Eldritch Blast to the farthest opponent, just to hit them for really nice damage. He's dead. Dead targets don't need to get lightning damage, so we can just reposition again to another area, like so. That. After that is follow up with another Eldritch Blast to this opponent right here. See how quickly the damage just piles up. It's just insanely fast. The combat logs can't even keep up with that damage. After that is we can just use another set of Eldritch Blast just for fun and eliminate this one here. He's dead. End of turn. So this enemy just keeps on getting electrocuted and she can't do anything about it for as long as she stands on this really nice electrified area. So you see that? Just reverberation explosion because of the thunder damage that we deal as well as the lightning damage, which is really nice. So just get her inside the Failure Alluve and shoot her down with this one. She's dead. And I said, guys, that's it for the build. Would love to know what you guys think, or have I missed any details that you want to share for this build to make it much better. Shout out to all the people who subscribe and keep supporting the channel. I really appreciate you guys for all the amazing support. And for all the people who haven't subscribed yet, thank you for watching my videos, and I hope I earn your subscriptions in the future. But if you're new today, please don't hesitate to hit that subscribe button. Want to support me directly? Join button is below. If you guys love build crafting, modding, or interacting with the best community in the Baldur's Gate 3 universe, we actually have our Discord and would love to see you there. Or if you're just someone who loves RPG news, builds, and mods, keep it here in this channel. Finally, that's it for me. I'll see you soon. The next Master Bakcho. Peace out. Bye guys.